That sounds like the words of a sad ghost.
McCallister, the czar of the bizarre. Every week on Strange Times Indeed, we take calls from you, the viewers, usually at home, usually virtually, to hear about the strange and unexplainable things happening out in the world. Be it ghosts, extraterrestrials, cryptids, you name it. We want to hear about it. If you can't explain it, that's the purpose of this show, to get folks out there to come and share their stories of the unbelievable. Weird things are happening every day and everywhere. You just gotta keep your eyes out for it. Now here you are, folks. Right here in the Maryland Ensemble Theater. See, let's bring the volume down just a little bit. Thank you. If I go competing with that the whole show, I won't be able to speak for a month. And we've got to do another show in 2 weeks on Twitch. We're taking next week off, I'll tell you that now. Welcome to the Maryland Ensemble Theater. I, of course, like I said, your host, Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre. A few housekeeping notes. If you want to take pictures during this show, please do. Tag us on at Strange Times Indeed. If there is the event of a fire, something awful should happen that is unplanned in this program. Please make your way to the exits. There's one here, there's one there. That one you're gonna have to do some work. That one that you came in, I recommend. Ideally, a single file fashion. We all practice it in school. If you could get in alphabetical order before we leave, that would be great, but you're all adults. You're gonna do whatever you do anyway. As always, please keep your masks on over the course of the production. Keep your hands and feet inside of the vehicle. Outside of that, am I missing any housekeeping things? Oh, of course, it's the Frederick News Post, best of the best. It's happening right now. Right now. Don't go on your phone right now and do this. Please do it when you get home or something. Look on the Maryland Ensemble Theater's Facebook page and vote for MET, for Best Live Theater Company. There you go. Okay. I think that just about gets us off of the runway. People, terrestrials, would you believe it? There are top stories happening, and here we are on Halloween Mass, ready to celebrate the strange and unusual. But first, things are going on, and I'm going to tell you about it, because this is big, and oh my God, when this happened on the week of our first live show, I said, it's a gift from the cosmos. NASA! Believe this, Stephen? NASA! The big space people, the people with the most important charge on space, these space scientists, the top of their field, have released guidelines, or are proposing, I think this is more accurate, they are proposing that we figure out a set of guidelines for unveiling information about potential extraterrestrial life among the stars. That's right. Listen, this is the very beginning. This is a preface of a 10-page document. And I'm not reading all 10 pages, but the beginning. Listen to this. Ours could realistically be the generation to discover evidence of life beyond Earth. With this privileged potential comes responsibility, Spider-Man reference. The magnitude of the question, are we alone, and the public interest therein opens the possibility that results may be taken to imply more than the observations support, or than the observers intended. As life detection objectives become increasingly prominent in space sciences, it is essential to open a community dialogue about how to convey information in a subject matter that is diverse, complicated, and has a high potential to be sensationalized. Did you hear that? Our generation, the first to realistically meet extraterrestrials, or at least confirm their existence somewhere within the cosmos. living, breathing creatures on other planets, perhaps coming to our own. NASA is figuring out a system with which they can roll out this news to us, and they're basing it on a scale of 1 to 9 like they do. That's right, not all the way to 10. You don't need 10 steps.
Sensationalized.
That's the efficiency of NASA. And their technology, the way they typically roll this out, they got a scale of 1 to 9 for how ready technology is to go to space. At 1, they have the basic principles are observed and reported, so they figured out what's going into space. And at number 9, the actual system flight has been proven through successful mission operations. I imagine with extraterrestrials, it's like, we heard something from outer space is number 1. And then number 9 is, we went there and they're real. So there could be a lot of leeway, but they're gonna create a scale, and then now we will know where we are and just how believable and just how ready we are to meet these extraterrestrial beings. In our lifetime, Stephen! Or our generation, who's to say when we live or die?
Are we at a 1 right now? Maybe a 2 or?
I think currently we're on a scale of 1 to 9. I think as far as NASA is ready to tell us, now I think we're probably like a 5 or 6 in reality. But I think what NASA is ready to tell us, we're probably at a 0.
Okay, and there's no way for that to go like backwards?
No, you can't go past 0. We've seen
But
enough
if we're
things.
at 1, could it go back to 0?
I think it will go beyond 0 if all of a sudden we look up and all of space stops. If all of a sudden we look up into the skies and there is nothing, that's when we go back beyond 0. Because if there is no space, then something completely different is going on from what we ever imagined.
You know, Kevin, that's kind of mind-boggling because
Who?
I
You're out of practice. You gotta stop working every month.
that's really mind-boggling because I thought space
Right here.
was nothing. Can you hear me, Kevin? Are you here today?
Who are you talking to?
The producer never shows up.
Why would he? You had a question, but it's probably beside the point.
Yeah, I'm punishing myself, so I probably can't hear you.
I wasn't listening. But I do appreciate you and all the hard work that you do. It's always important to let the people who work for you know that they are valued. He gets a cut of our Patreon every month, and it's not $15 an hour, that's for sure. But with your help, it could be. All right, Stephen, I think it's time. The people are ready. They've been briefed on the news. They know what our show is about. They know what's happening here today. It is Halloween Mass, after all. Tonight, we're going to summon the ancient spirit of Halloween right here. And oh boy, it'll be a blast and a whole bunch of fun. We'll hear ghost stories. We'll hear a little music. But first, to get the congregation ready, we must have a Halloween hymn.
Halloween hymn?
Yes, Stephen. So if you could go ahead and prep the technology.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I start the record, but that'll be problems when the hymn starts. It's best that I let him do all the heavy lifting.
All right, Cliff. I'll start the record.
All right, I'm going to sit here and look cute for these lovely people listening tonight. We're only unbuttoning the jacket, folks. I know you'd like more, but this ain't that kind of show. All right. This is Wendy. Please pause it, please. Thank you, you're okay. There are things that must be said that I forgot to say. Because this is a hymn for the congregation after all, so please stand as you are able. And please keep your masks on for this. I do not want to be sung upon. But I do wish you will sing along to our first hymn. The lyrics you will find on the screen as any modern day church will have for you. This is, if you know the lyrics, you can sing along a little easier if you know what song it is, but I won't let it be a surprise. It's The Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett. All right, folks, here we go. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. The monster from a slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash from a laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode. They did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. They caught on in a flash. They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The parody had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all the digging and sounds. Igor on chains by his main hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5. They did a monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did a monster mash. Out of the coffin Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened his lid and he shook his fist. He said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist? It's now the monster mash." It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They tell the monster mash. Now everything's cool. Drax part of the band. And my monster mash is the hit of the land. When you do the living as this mash was meant to. When you get to the door, tell them Boris sent you. And you can monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. It can monster mash. A monster mash. Oh, you're applauding for yourselves. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Oh, well. Okay, all right, folks. This is time.
Let it be known that you are getting a round of applause from the Twitch stream.
Thank you, viewers at home. Thank you, viewers at home, for tuning in this week and every week, Thursdays at 9 o'clock, twitch.tv/MacComedyNight. Like I said, I'm taking next week off because I just did this. But in 2 weeks, on November 11th, Armistice Day, you can join us for more Strange Times Indeed. It's not going to be about Armistice Day. That's just the day it happens to fall on, and it's easier for me to remember the date if I tell you the holiday. Ah. In just a moment, my friends, it will be time to bear witness. For here at Strange Times Indeed, the odd and unbelievable are shared every week on the program. And we've got a special friend coming to join us this night who has some rather frightening ghost stories to share with us. So in just a moment, once Stephen gets everything set up properly, now, you'd think this is a fancy live show, it'd be a little more efficient, but there's a lot of different moving pieces here, and frankly, this is just an attempt from the government to silence our voices and make people think, oh, this is a boring show. I'm not going to keep watching it. Different Twitch channel. I thought you had it.
I thought I had it.
I really like your background.
Who doesn't like bubbles? There it is. All right.
Woo!
Okay, thank you, Steven. Now, I hope you will all welcome to stage our friend, Leah Seltzer. Leah, wherever you are. Hello, Leah. You may unmask because you are an audience plant. If someone else has a story to share, you'll probably have to remain masked because them's the breaks, kiddo. This is Hollywood in the land of the pandemic. Oh, sure. Let's here. Let's back it up just a little bit since we're playing to all sides. There we go. Okay.
Oh, wonderful! Thank
Leah,
you. Hi.
you have witnessed the bizarre, the unexplained, spirit specters from beyond our realm,
I
or perhaps
have.
from once upon this life and into the next.
I have, Cliff. Well, I may not look like paranormal type person, but I got a double header here. I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm from Long Island. And people say, "Oh, what do you mean, Puerto Rican from Long Island? That's not paranormal." Oh, it is. It is because I grew up in a house where it was 3 families all living in one house, and you had the grandmother matriarch who was very spiritual, and she was also a working medium. So every once in a while we'd have a seance. She'd be channeling a spirit here or there. Then my father was also a medium. He's channeling a spirit here or there. So it was a very strange upbringing. You always had the Jesus picture with the eyes that always followed you. They're closing and opening all the time. So spirituality was very big growing up. And then as you get a little bit older, you realize, you live in the place that's really strangely named. You grow up in towns like Patchogue, Cutchogue, Massapequa. You're like, those are really strange spelled names. Oh, those are Indian tribes. And they're not here anymore. There's some bad juju on Long Island. So growing up in a tribal land and being Puerto Rican was a little strange. So I believe my first true sighting of a spirit happened when I was probably about 9 years old. Our house backed up to the swamps along the back of our yard, and there was a little pathway. And it was all these reeds. If you've ever seen the little tall reeds with little stemmy things up top, and you'd walk through them. So there was a pathway to the beach. And through there, the clammers would go. So the clammers would walk every day, see the kids going with their waders on, and they go trudging through.
And the clammers, not to interrupt,
Yeah.
are the people who look for clams. It's not like a spooky name for somebody who clambers around.
Yeah, no. Well, there is a Mothman back there. But
Okay.
that's a totally different show.
That is a different
That's
episode,
a different
but
episode.
the same
I'll
show.
I'll come back for the Mothman. So the clammers would go in their waders, and they'd have their little buckets, and that was their thing. Is the teenagers would go back there, and they'd clam for clams and come back and shuck them and eat them. So there was one kid, Chris, who we'd see every Saturday morning trudging back there, and my grandmother was over, and she looked up from the kitchen window. She was always in the kitchen, and she looked up. She was like, "Mira, who's that?" And I looked by the window. I was like, "Oh, that's Chris." And I went about my business. And then about 45 minutes later, I heard a helicopter over the house. And I was like, "No, that's weird. Maybe they're spraying for mosquitoes." And then the phone rings. And my brother, who was in middle school with Chris, gets the call that Chris had drowned 4 hours earlier because he forgot his knife to cut the waders off, and he sank in the quicksand out there. So that was fun. So as you grow up in this Mothman-y swamp-filled area, then you're in high school, and the high school is here, and there's a road called Beaver Dam Road that goes, it's a straight tree-lined road that goes to the Great South Bay. So there was this rumor that if you drove down Beaver Dam Road around midnight, there was a little girl on the side of the road. And you would see her, and you'd pass by. And then about half a mile later, there she'd be again. And you'd pass by, and there she'd be again. So me and my dumb friends said, let's go see if we can see her. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. So we all get into one Honda Accord, and there's 7 of us, and we're all in there. And the Colt 45s, and we're driving down Beaver Dam Road, and I'm like, oh man, we're not seeing anything. And then we turned down a side road, and this was 1989.
I'm sorry, did you say 99?
Yes. So we turned down the road, and we're driving, and it was the first McMansions of the world. I mean, we had never seen anything like it. So there's this huge clearing where there used to be swampland, and we're like, what is this? And they were building these gigantic houses in these neighborhoods. And I said, oh my God, I remember hearing about this because it was in our local paper. They started building, and they found a graveyard. And the Historical Society said, well, you can't touch that. So they just built around it. So you had these huge houses that had been put up, and then a space no bigger than this stage with the wrought iron fence and these little tombstones. And so they're like, oh my gosh, we gotta get to it. How do we get to it? So we pulled the car facing it, and the guys were like, we're going. I'm like, oh, I'm going. I'm like, we're going. And so they get out of the car, and I'm sitting in the car with the headlights on them, and they all go running out, and they're being very respectful, very nice, but they're reading the stones, going over and reading the stones, and me, being a jerk, waits till they get all the way out there, and I shut off the headlights. And I hear, ah! I'm like, dudes! And by the time I turned on the headlights, they're all on the hood of the car. And I'm like, my God, I only turned on for a second. What's wrong with you guys? They're like, you don't understand. When you turned off the headlights, there was someone standing next to each of us.
No.
They could all see a soldier next to the person, so that when they would look, there wasn't 6 of them, there was 12 of them. And they freaked out and came running back to the car. So, yeah, those are fun.
Well, folks, that's the thing about spirits. They're most likely dead people, so sometimes the stories can be a bit of a downer.
Try not to.
That's well, I mean, they came to a comedy show that's for Halloween.
I know. They really asked for it.
Sometimes things are gonna get spooky. Leah, how do you think one becomes a ghost?
If you have unfinished business, I feel like if you're here for a reason and that reason doesn't get fulfilled, you might want to stick around and see what you can do, or just influence the people that are still here to maybe kind of take care of that for me. Hey, can you get that for me? So.
All right.
I definitely believe that.
A follow-up question. You said that your family is generational in having in having the sixth sense, in being mediums.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have the power?
Interestingly enough, I do have very much. They hate me because I know Tell me I don't know everything.
She does.
Everything.
The spirit. They're talking to her right now. For all of us here.
But I do remember very distinctly that it was after a very intense channeling session of my father, that I had gone to bed. I was probably about 14, 15 years old, and it was a very specific dream where my spirit guides came to me and said, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want to be open? Do you want to have that access? And I said, no, thank you. I'm not afraid of any man alive. Dead? I choose this realm. I'd rather not. So it was a very specific dream, and I'll never forget it. It was
Right.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned. Do you have any other ghost stories beyond those?
I
Think
do.
we've got time for one more.
I do. Beaver Dam Road lays here, and my brother's best friend's house, which was built in the 1700s, is right on the left-hand corner. And that house was extremely haunted, to the point where you just felt this energy when you were there. And he grew up in a very active paranormal home, and it really traumatized him pretty good. And my brother, it was the kind of house that had a mirror against one wall and then one against the other. And
That's trouble.
You're like, why are you doing that? That's like a
Spiritually?
portal into the
Yes,
unknown.
it's a trouble. You do not put mirrors across from each
You
other.
never do that. So it was like, you don't cross the streams. I could not believe that that's what they thought of.
It adds depth to the room.
So it was a creepy house, bedposts and lots of
Bedposts, bad too. Gives the spirit something to hold on to, something to dance on.
When you put mirrors together, it's like you just see your face, then your face, then your face, then your face. Just like behind you, you've got like multiple faces.
It's just not pleasant. I had a grandfather clock. It's trouble. And so my brother had a sleepover, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he hears an Irish jig, very faintly. He's like, what is that music? And he's, okay, so he goes down the stairs and comes around the corner, and my brother's a big fat crazy liar, but that's another story. But I know for a fact that this is what he saw, because he came home. He was young, probably about 14 years old, hysterical. And I was like, what happened? What happened? What'd you see? He said, in the middle of the living room, he says, Mom, you're not going to believe this. It was a man wearing pants, like knickers, like Irish.
Old-timey pants.
Yes. But his head was a goat. And he was doing an Irish jig in the living room. And he...
Was his head a goat head, or was his head a whole goat?
Goat head!
Oh.
He was taking it off.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And then later that day, the next day, I went back with my brother to go pick stuff up because he had left stuff there in such a hurry. And he gets to the front door, so I'm standing on the porch. I'm like, I'm not going in that house. He's standing on the porch, and he goes up to the door, and he's talking to his friend, and he's standing, and I see him talk to his friend, and then go like this. And his friend starts to cry, and I see his friend just start to shake, and the tears come down his face. And he's like, she's behind me, isn't she? And he goes, uh-huh. And standing at the top of the stairs was a woman just watching us down. You could see just down the stairs and out the door, and we just backed away and took off running. That was Danny Spitzer. Danny Spitzer has the most haunted house in Belfort. Do you know that he still lives there? He still lives there.
I actually don't know him personally
And
at all.
he is not calling into our program every week!
I will call him and tell him he hasn't left, and that's the creepy part. Why hasn't he left? Move out! Get a condo! Oh, that's so scary!
Oh my goodness.
I know. It's terrible.
I expended all of my interview energy with finding out that the there was a specter with a goat head.
A goat head.
And your friend is not calling into the show every week in this nightmare house he lives in.
I'm gonna Facebook him right now.
Yeah. Wow, I was going to ask if anyone has a story to share, but that's tough to top a specter with a goat head. That's some high strangeness. That's truly an upsetting visual to find.
Yes. Dancing a jig.
Dancing a jig. Well, Leah, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Everyone, give it up for Leah. If it is possible, Stephen, after you move that, can you run backstage and turn the AC off? I think some people are getting cold, and as hot as I am, I'm also getting a little cold. Oh, all right. Well, this would be the music to tell you news to, but we already did the news. Holy moly. All right, well, I was going to ride the wave of that music for a moment, but now it's gone. Thank you, Steven. A doll and a deer. We wouldn't be able to do the show without him week to week, Thursdays at 9 o'clock on twitch.tv/Met Comedy Night. Yay, that's the time. Hooray, logistics. But boy, oh boy, folks, while we're talking logistics, if you ever want to support us and help our show grow and let things get stranger, let me tell you, if things get real good, we're going to have a mini golf course somewhere in the woods. But that can't happen without your financial backing. You can always support us at patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. There you go. Got that out of the way, and we're not even at the end of the program, so the end of the program can be nice and fun. You know, I don't know if I've ever seen a ghost. But one time as a child, I woke up in the middle of the night from my bunk bed. Children have bunk beds. Isn't that delightful? Don't you wish you had a bunk bed as an adult? Why not? I guess some people don't like to fall. I guess some people don't like the thrill of waking up. But one day I woke up and it was the middle of the night and my doorway is open, as it is when you're a child asleep. And someone was just standing there, like, looking in. Seemed thinner than my father. But I just said, oh, that's probably Dad, and went back to sleep. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more concerning it is. All right, well, we've heard about ghosts. We've heard about specters. My friends, fellow terrestrials, it's Halloween Mass. Which means, of course, we can't just buddy around being as hot as we are. There are important things that must be done tonight. Important. And world-changing things for which you need the appropriate attire. Halloween! The time of year, which is now year-round. Earth is in retrograde, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to bog you down with that theory. Earth is in retrograde, and it's weird year-round, but Halloween, my friends, it's peak weird. It's time for us all to embrace the strangeness within us and celebrate the bizarre and unexplainable. We get all dressed up. We put on our crazy costumes. We parade down the streets like wild dogs, frothing at the mouth for sugar. Some of you might be thinking, oh, I'm a little past my frothing at the mouth for sugar phase. And that's okay. I mean, treat yourself once in a while. However, you can still get weird. You're never too old to be weird. You're never too young to be weird. You can be weird any day of the week, any time, any place. And Halloween is when the weirdness rises to the top, the cream of the crop. Halloween.
Yeah, the cream of the crop, rise to the top.
Yes! Yes, Steven! I see you feeling that weird. I see you feeling that weird. Who you channeling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, brother!
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, brothers, sisters, siblings of all types. The extraterrestrials, the ultra-terrestrials, the terrestrials, here we all are. Days before Halloween. Not quite Halloween yet, but getting there. I mean, we got a whole weekend to celebrate. We got a whole weekend. Last time, we didn't get to have one. This time, we get a whole weekend. That rules. Which means, I mean, here's what I want from you all tonight. This is a challenge to you. I realized that was a thing from summer camp that no one here is going to respond to. Old habits die hard. A challenge for you all. This is Halloween weekend. How many of you are in a costume tonight?
Okay.
Yes, 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 yes! All right, the rest of you. You got a whole weekend. What are you wearing tomorrow? Your normal clothes? I don't think so. I don't care if you work on Saturdays. You're working on Halloween weekend. That's a religious thing. You get to wear your outfit. Sunday, you get to wear it too. You get 2 days to wear it this year. Because it's the weekend, baby! We celebrate Halloween, we celebrate the weekend. And here, we are going to bring the spirit of Halloween onto stage with us tonight. We're going to get magical and mystical and weird. But the question is, folks, who brought a pumpkin? Did anyone bring a pumpkin? Who brought a pumpkin? Ooh, yes, 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 okay. All right, here's what I need all of my pumpkin bearers to do. Please rise, my pumpkin bearers. Take your pumpkins. Hold them up. Feel the cosmic energy into the stems. And bring them upon stage. Find the spot designated by the cosmos for your pumpkin. Make your way. Some, you may wonder, why did I get one that was at least 15 pounds? Oh, right here. The bears. Thank you, my pumpkin bearers. We now may begin the ritual. When the moon is high, on All Hallows Eve, but more specifically, 2 days before Hallows Eve. When the witnesses gather and the pumpkins arrive, so will the spirit that has birthed this holiday from however spirits birth things. Yeah, it's kind of a mystery. After all, if they're floating there, it's kind of like, what's going on? Let me tell you. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Please, bow your heads. Oh, Hallows Eve. Stephen, the music is interfering. I'm sorry I'm being a diva tonight, spirit of Halloween. But this is, after all, my big night. Like almost a wedding in some ways, but absolutely not a wedding. I don't want anyone to get their hopes up. That's it. No one's getting married tonight. That's a different show. Oh, Halloween. Halloween, the day in which the sun and the moon, the sun will set and the moon will rise. But the pumpkins, oh, they sit on the earth absorbing the sunlight, absorbing the rays from the cosmos into space. And then, as the sun sets and the moon arises, the pumpkins light their flames and do their dances. And the pumpkins give a little kiss. They kiss the sky, they kiss the stars, right there on our porches. Watch them very closely, you can see them do this. It's quite a sight to see, the little mwah. How cute, how sweet. And so, the pumpkins do their dance, and their kiss. And everyone comes out of their houses in their weird outfits that they've worn all weekend. And they do their little dance, and they kiss the cosmos. Or their crush, I mean, sometimes. And, the weird rises above it all. And for just once, Earth in its own state of retrograde is absolutely perfect. Oh, everybody does the dance, the Halloween dance. They kiss the pumpkins, the to soft nougat. Please do not consume the Three Musketeers.
I want candy!
Oh my god, hello!
Stephen, as hard as he's been working, has not been given candy.
All hard workers deserve candy.
All hard workers deserve candy.
Children deserve candy.
Of the workers.
Candy has to be free on Halloween! Literally everybody needs it. Okay? Everybody needs candy. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. You're all gonna get candy. And honestly, I taught Marcus everything he knows. Alright, so let's just... Happy Halloween, everybody. Like, truly. No,
be
And that's
sexy
as
if
far
I
as it goes.
tried. Halloween is for sexy things, but not at this point.
I'm still wearing the other dress under this one.
Okay.
But you cannot summon without the robe.
Incredible! Beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
Everybody got candy? Literally everybody needs it, unless you really don't want it in mad respect.
Yes, we are not force-feeding anyone at strange times indeed with Luke McCallister. We are not war criminals.
Thank you for summoning me.
We have two goals, Spirit of Halloween,
Tell
as
me
you
more.
should probably know. On this show, we get people to share their experiences. With the strange and unexplained. That is our first goal, to normalize the weird and bizarre.
Incredible.
The second goal, which may be achieved by these very movements, if we do them correctly, is to end all war. War, universally pretty bad. And after all, the extraterrestrials will not come and present themselves to us if we hold on to nuclear weapons. They've made this clear. They talked to Truman about it, and he said, I like these things. We're keeping them. Yeah, thank you. Let's get a boo for war. Boo! Thank you.
Solved it.
All right. Problem solved. Check that off. We did the movements.
We did it. Did we solve war?
We've solved war, my friends. Steven, I don't know if you were in the room for this conversation. Are we good for it, though? Great.
Do I need the
There's
ladder?
one more hymn, but this one will definitely flag copyright stuff, so... So I know you've got a recording on the hard line, but go ahead and mute the stream.
So
I think
here's
you
what
can
we're
sing
gonna
along.
do. Everyone who's here bought a ticket. Everyone who is at home didn't. So we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye and get the real party started. But thank you